I've been raving on about this ready-made piping. It's on a very, very thin fabric, and the beauty of it is that they've used the hot foil type of cutout, which has eliminated the need for the extra turn, so it won't fray, and it's very, very easy to use. Basically just change the foot on your machine and it's already prepared. So all you're doing is with the right side of the garment up and the right side of the dory up, leave about an inch in excess. Now depending on how much of a turning you want, depending on how much of, you know, on this one I left the fabric itself quite wide because I didn't want too much of the reflection of the red coming into this. And with this one, with the bottom one, because it's rounded, it's going to be a bit difficult. So what we're going to do is keep about a centimetre of the fabric. So leave a little bit of the excess. I mean, change the thread if you feel you don't want too much of the white showing, and then just stitch right next to the dory. And there's no folding or anything in this, so generally when we apply dory we're creating the fold ourselves, or we prepare the dory that way. It will have a double stitching. This will have a double stitching because there is already a stitching obviously done on the dory itself. But you know, the good thing is that there isn't the need to worry that, you know, the fraying part will come out, or because it is on a fabric which is put on a hot gun, so it stops. And basically you're just stitching right next to the dory all the way. Now the beauty of this is that it comes in a lot of colors, and it's come in loads of colors. I just bought like 5 colors I think, and I'm not sure how much they're selling this at a yard at, because I just bought, there was 10 yards per roll, or 14 yards per roll, and I bought the full. But when I go in today I will ask. I need to go and buy a couple of things from there today. Now, in order to keep this as close to the edge as possible, sometimes you need to work in sort of an angle. Keep the fabric at an angle, not at a straight, and that way the machine will always take what is required. So, go to the edge, and then we're going to change the foot and hopefully do the bottom bit. But before I do this, I'll come back to that. I've got this much left. I'm going to do Inaya's suit as well. We'll change and we'll finish this off. Now a zipper foot is probably, with me, is one of the most used of the straight foot, and the zipper foot are two that I use constantly. Before you start turning, just make sure to see that your two edges are absolutely equal. Now we can do this either on the wrong side or the right side. We'll just do it on if you're stitching on the wrong side, then make sure that you even out your fabric and keep the bottom fabric always pulled. Even though once you've done this, and if you press it, you should have no reason. Now this is the underside and that's the right side, so you've just got a little bit of the dory showing. So occasionally pick the foot up, because this is on a round. You don't want the underside of the fabric to get a crease, and the one way to take out the excess creasing is to continuously lift the foot, so that any fabric that is slightly pulling or puckering can find its way to settle. And basically that's why, I know with my machine it's an automatic, you lift the foot and the foot lifts, or you press the heel and the foot lifts. But with other machines you may have to do this manually by lifting the lever at the back of the machine. Or on some industrial machines you have the leg part, which you sort of push and maneuver as you're sewing. So where you've got the roundness, you will get a slight bit of, because the dory, the piping and the fabric on the piping is on a straight cut, whereas your garment on the under is on a round, and you will get that slight bit of curving. There's excess fabric on the bottom dress, and then there's less on the turning, so just to incorporate that, we're slightly lifting it occasionally and just easing it out and so on, and then just keeping that pull. So you get to the turning, we're just going to So once that's pressed, that should sit evenly, and basically that's all it is. And I've just got the piping behind the neckline, so whilst we're at it, we're just gonna, if any one of you who struggles, you can turn that off at this point if you are okay with your piping around the neckline, and if you are still struggling with piping the back of the neckline, then you can follow through. So start the seam off just slightly prior to where the neck turning is going to be, and then double fold the bias fabric and place the folded side underneath towards the outer of the neck. The unsalvaged edge is on the inner of the neck. Keep the fold consistent, and the double folded fabric is just stitching it around the inner circle of the neckline with the two unsalvaged edges of the lining or the piping fabric. Now I cut this in excess, so as we get closer we're going to go right to the edge, and then we're going to just stop, swivel that around and stitch on the side, trim away the excess, trim it at an angle close to where the cutting line is on both the sides. Notch in a few places or trim it down, whichever is easier for you. You can trim this down to almost extra big scissor. Just pull them tight, and this again you can seam it on the right side or on the wrong side. The overhanging threads, just push them towards the inside of the seam. You're basically trimming away the threads and pressing the garment, and voila. Voila, dress is done. Now one slight mistake I made on this was on the back where I've inserted the flower. I didn't actually measure, and I went and attached it on, and it's just a little bit high, but because I've stitched all over it, I'm not going to unpick it and redo it. But that's basically an open shirt to go over an abaya or a dress, and it looks amazingly beautiful.